Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Your Peak Life podcast. Our guest today is a realtor at Iron Valley Real Estate. His name is Daelin Soliman. Daelin, how you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
How about
good,
you,
man? I'm great, actually. We just came back from the last training class for our first series of the Peak Performance, and I think it went real well. So basically, we're going to start off today, man. We just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, maybe why you got into real estate, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, my name's Daelin. I am a Virginia Beach native, which is rare at this firm.
Yeah, we're all Navy transplants,
Yep,
right?
yep. I have two boys, Samson and Theo, 2 and 6 months. And I love selling homes. You know, I've been in the service industry most of my life, serving tables, bartending.
All locally.
So all locally. Yep, all locally. So, you know, I love having those connections with people. And when my first son was being born, I just needed to step it up a little bit and was thinking, how else can I help people but do it on a larger scale?
Yeah.
And I got into selling homes, and I love it.
Real estate was it. Awesome, man. So kind of rolls into the next question that we've been asking everybody. You know, is Iron Valley your first firm? Did you hang your license somewhere else? And there's no need to, you know, we're not, this isn't a bash session at all. It's just trying to point out, you know, maybe why you chose Iron Valley when you did choose to make a move, or how it's been since you've done so.
Of course. Well, no, I did not start at Iron Valley. I started at a cloud-based brokerage, which I'll leave unnamed.
Okay, that's fair.
A small team there. And I was with them about 4 months. I sold a couple homes, and it just wasn't for me, I'll say. I ended up leaving them. And when I went on my search to find my next firm, you know, I know what I wanted and didn't want from my previous team.
Gotcha.
Really, I had planned to interview at a bunch of different places. I didn't want to waste time on another team or at another firm and not like it. So I don't know, I needed to feel that connection and really wanted to be at where I wanted to be at. But Iron Valley was the first place I actually interviewed at. And
Who'd you interview with?
Eric, actually.
Okay.
Yep, Eric Edwards. And it was just different. I mean, as soon as I walked in the door, the energy, you know, it was just different than any other brokerage or firm I had been at. And I didn't even interview anywhere else, honestly. I said, this is the place for me.
So, I mean, where are we now? Talk about from when you got here to now. How's the landscape of your career?
I'm actually coming up on a year at Iron Valley now. And I've only been licensed about a year and a half. You know, I spent about 4 months in my last place. And, you know, as soon as I made the switch over to Iron Valley, you know, I was trying to stay on it. I was at the office every single day, just showing up, putting in the work. Didn't have too much going on. And, you know, people see that. They see the effort that you're putting in. And I found a great mentor, yourself. And
Appreciate that.
Of course, man. And just been killing it ever since.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because there might, you know, everyone has their perception of things, right? But that's almost never what's really taking place. So I walked by you for probably 3 months.
Yep.
Every day to go to my office in here. But what happens is I notice and take notice to the people that are showing up and putting in effort, right? You could probably talk to LJ. His instance was very similar to yours, where I had never met either one of you guys in my life. You both came from service industry, both locals, but you both showed up every day for months before I ever gave either one of you an opportunity to work with me on anything.
And I was driving 45 minutes as well. I was living in Elizabeth City, driving to town center.
So, but eventually somebody gave you some advice, right? It was Eric again, wasn't it?
It was.
He said, why don't you just go talk to Mike, man? Because Eric knows how I operate. If you show up and you're willing to do the work when you're not making any money, then I know you're going to show up and do the work when you begin to make money, as long as you're coached properly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's really what started it. But then once you start closing, that's where it becomes different. That's where I'll pour into your cup, if you will, and give you all the tools that I've learned pretty much the hard way. You know, I've had a couple good mentors, but nobody teaches you everything. So you get to a point where you can handle a lot of different situations. And I think that people like yourself, LJ, Breland Powell, when he retired from the Navy, kind of started with me under my wing, and now he's a top producer and running the team. And it's just about cultivating you guys as well, because if you guys win, then I win by way of, like, that's a reflection of my leadership, right?
Everybody wins.
Exactly. But I do know not everyone is selfless like that. Like, I mean, I'm not treating you guys like what's an unpaid employee, like an intern or anything. Like, no, I break bread. If you're working with me, it's 50-50. It's straight up.
We're not slaves.
Yeah. So, but I also mentor and train and guide, and I'm very involved as
Most
far
definitely.
as like with what's happening with the client or a transaction, or how to treat that to cultivate that business for longevity. Because that's the real deal. I want you guys to build a sphere of influence, and that will ultimately turn you into that next team lead, that next managing broker, that next owner, you know.
Definitely. And that's something that you don't see a lot of the time. I mean, how many firms is the principal broker guiding someone every day? You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the time they don't even have time for it. They don't even give you the time of day.
Well, it's leverage, man. You know, you just sat through the training that really inspired this podcast, right? It was just one of the slogans that we thought of when we made the course. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're right. But that's also who I am. And one could argue that the Navy and having been a chief in the Navy have a lot to do with that. I was always very lead from the front by example. I will not ask people to do something that I haven't done or I'm not willing to do. That's the secret to getting people to follow you. Like, because if not, people are just going to call your bluff. Like, he's full of shit. You've never done that.
Facts.
You know, you're going to tell people to cold call. You've never done it. You're going to tell somebody to hold an open house. You've never done it. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, so leading from the front has been why we're successful. And I believe in that to this day, or I wouldn't have been there this morning training people or going to listing appointments with people still, or whatever it is. But that's how people are going to learn. Also, when you're liable for everything as the principal broker, it's probably intelligent on your behalf to be out in the streets with these people and instilling good order and discipline and making sure people understand that there are governing bodies around what we do.
For sure.
Like,
and then if you're not on the ground selling, I mean, how can you be a good broker if you don't know how the market is and what's really going on?
That's a loaded question. I'm going to leave that alone.
All right.
I will just say, some people even use it as a recruiting tactic, like, oh, that's a competing broker. I call it a performing broker. You know, There's plenty of business to go around. There's been over $7 billion in sales and 20,000 units closed in Hampton Roads this year. We're not competition, bud, unless you're elite, right?
Sure.
Like, let's be real. 20% of the agents do most of the business, so 80% of the people talking don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So that's.
We'll save it for the next podcast.
We'll leave that alone. Yeah. Because it's irritating, man, because you're right. I think that if you're not practicing what you preach, how can you preach it? You're not qualified.
Spitting facts.
Yeah. Like, did you sell houses during a pandemic? Did you, like, there's a lot of things that have happened over the last 3 or 4 years. If you don't have a sales history in the last 3 or 4 years, I don't think I can listen to you.
Yeah.
Because this is a different market. It's a different thing. It's a different beast. The clients are different to handle. The situations are different. It's all different. And it's going to be different. There's cycles. So I think that you should absolutely practice in the industry if you're going to teach in it.
That's one thing I love about the industry too, is that it's always different. You know, it's not monogamous. You're not doing the same thing every single day. It's always something changes. Always something's different.
Oh yeah. Different situation, different
Oh,
scenario.
yeah.
So, we talked about when you came in real estate, how you got to Iron Valley, but this isn't an Iron Valley podcast. This is the Your Peak Life podcast, right? So what we're really trying to do is reach the peak in our lives, man. Like, people have asked me, what's your greatest fear? And it is that I won't reach my full potential. So that way, every day I have that marker of what's the best version of myself. You keep going. To me, that's the peak life. So we're going to talk about some things that may not be sales, right? So the next question that I've been asking everybody is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I don't mean that just in real estate. Like, where do you see you holistically 5 years from now?
Okay. In 5 years, bro, I mean, my boys are 2 and 6 months right now. So in 5 years, I hope to be leading a beautiful family, bro. I like them 5 years old and 4.5. It's crazy to even think about that, you know.
Almost dropping off for kindergarten.
Exactly. Like they're hitting school at this age. So really, I mean, one of my main focuses is raising healthy boys, man, you know. Other than that, I mean, as far as business wise, this ball ain't stopped rolling, man. This is gonna keep going. I'm just getting started, baby.
Well, hopefully you stick with us and you stick with me, and we'll make it real fun along the way.
It's been great, man. There's honestly no better industry I could be in, and I feel no better place I could be at. I mean, it's just worked out perfectly.
Awesome. Well, we're going to keep working it because that's what you got to do. It's not the last question. I'll have another one for you, but this one to me is probably the most important that we've been asking everybody. The name of the podcast is Your Peak Life, and I want to know what that is to you by definition. What does your peak life look like?
Living your peak life to me means doing the best you can in every aspect of your life. You know, there has to be a good balance of everything, and you just have to work steadily every day at being better than you were yesterday. You know, wake up early, drink some water, break a sweat, go and work out. You know, I love hitting the gym first thing in the morning. I feel like I think clear for the rest of the day. Yeah. And that's something that I've started recently, actually. I mean, I feel like...
Does that have anything to do with your training?
It does. It does, honestly. And just being surrounded by everyone that I am on a daily basis.
Like-minded
you really
people.
are.
Like people that want to
become
win.
who you're around.
Absolutely.
And Iron Valley, it's just different, man. I mean, like the type of people that you see on a daily basis that you're around, you know, you speak with. They tell you what's going on with their deals. You do the same. Everyone shares. You know, it's not like that everywhere. You know, I was at a cloud-based brokerage before, and we didn't have that brick-and-mortar office to build that culture.
No people.
And that's the most important part about me, probably about Iron Valley, is that the culture is just, it's nothing better.
Try to keep it a family environment.
Yeah.
That was a good explanation of life at your peak, man. Just trying to do the best at everything that you're doing. And I couldn't agree more.
Just do your best.
What about when your best isn't enough?
I mean, it depends what your definition is of not enough. I mean, like, if you are doing your best and in your own head you feel like you're not doing enough, that's just probably regular anxieties that most people have. You know, most people want to hold themselves to a high standard. And I mean, at least me, you know, if I wake up and I sleep in and I don't go to the gym and then, you know, I just don't feel right, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have that.
Little self-accountability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The next question that I kind of added, you know, and this wasn't, I don't know if Edgar's put that on the email out, but I've been asking people, you know, I sit here all the time and ask other people questions, man. Do you have any questions for me? And this might be tough for you because we do talk a lot and interact a lot.
On a daily basis.
Is there something that you've wanted to ask me that you haven't, that you want to ask me right now?
That's a tough one, bro. You put me on the spot like that.
Live action.
Man, do you feel that you would be in the same place you are today if you had, you know, if your upbringing was not the same? You had a rough,
he came with the heat,
childhood.
Didn't he?
Do you feel like you feel like that made you stronger? You know, built you into the man you are today, or how do you feel about that?
Yes. Short answer, yes. A little bit of a long answer. Absolutely 100%. Like, everything that I did just to, I don't want to say survive because it sounds like some type of horror film, which I guess to some people it is, you know, but there's also moments of joy and love and happiness sporadically throughout trauma, if you will. But if I didn't go through everything I went through up until I was 17 and joined the Navy, and then also the stuff I went through in the Navy, all of those things have created the person that has the ability to do what he's doing right now. I would not be able to lead people. I would probably not be able to close deals. I would definitely not have the sphere of influence that I have if I wouldn't be as diverse, you know.
You can relate to all aspects of
so many different aspects, right? So no, my life experience and what I went through gave me purpose, and it made me want to build a good life. I never got stuck in the, this is how it is, this is how it's always going to be. I call it the poor man's state of mind. I never wanted to, I'm such a victim. I can't. No, I wanted to break the stigma, break the generational curse. I always had a feeling that there's something better. I know there's better. I'm just going to believe that if I work hard, eventually it'll pay off, you know?
Yeah.
And that's through anything, you know, because I worked hard a lot of times and it didn't pay off like it was supposed to, or maybe somebody tried to rob me of it, or maybe I made decisions that I shouldn't have and almost robbed myself, you know? But you learn and you grow through all those things, and I'm proud to be who and what I am. Yeah, that's a great question.
Thanks.
Damn.
I was like, I didn't know what to
they
ask,
come
bro.
with the
I
heat,
was
bro.
caught a little off guard.
Trying to get tears flowing and shit. But no, I have purpose, man, you know? And I'm thankful for that, because I wouldn't have that burning desire inside me to just like live a great life, and I want everyone around me to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. Well, I think that's it, man. That's
Solid.
That's a good one. I appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah, bro.
Awesome.